Hello, and welcome back to the State of the Fandom. My name is Neil Fox. I am your president for life of time and space, and of the furry fandom, democratically elected, of course. Now, with me as always is my partner in love and in life, Link Labrador.
Hello.
And today we're answering a very interesting question posed by Mr. Labrador. Go right ahead.
Yes. So, the question is, are individuals who have the
Conditions known as...
conditions known as Asperger's, autism, dyslexia, ADHD, are they facets of natural selection and natural biology and evolution to intentionally move society forward? Because people thinking in these abstract or unusual methods have done a lot of good for society. Think of it this way.
Mm-hmm.
You would be surprised the long list of celebrities that happen to be dyslexic. Whoopi Goldberg is dyslexic.
That's true.
Everyone knows her, everyone loves her.
Yep. Well, and it has not stopped her from having a very famous career.
Exactly.
Okay, so I have an answer to this question, and this is partially due to my research, and partially due to just my own feeling about it, okay?
Yeah.
So I have not completely proven this argument yet, but I'm sure that as we go through our lives, I will be able to speak with many psychologists and doctors and mental health professionals that we interview on the podcast. I'm sure I'll be able to speak to many of them about this subject. So, here is my answer to your question. And what I'm going to do real quick is just restate your question for clarity, okay?
Yes.
So, I would argue, and again, I am not a psychologist, but this is my best understanding of psychology as just a person who's a student of the subject. I am not an expert by any means. I am a student of psychology. I would argue that mental conditions can be classified into two types. Okay?
Yes.
Number one would be things that are detrimental to a person's life. So, no one would argue that you would want to be born with Down syndrome.
Correct.
No one would argue that you would want to be born with fetal alcohol syndrome, i.e., the mom drinking during pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
That is, those two conditions, unless I'm incorrect, but I'm sure many psychologists will write into the show and tell me. Unless I'm incorrect, those conditions only have negative effects.
Correct.
My aunt, Karen, has fetal alcohol syndrome. Unfortunately for her, her mom drank when she was pregnant. And so, Karen has the mental ability of around a 12-year-old.
Unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. Karen, if her mom had not drank during pregnancy, Karen would not have these issues. She would have probably a very normal life of, having a family, having a job, all that good stuff. So I would argue that these types of mental conditions have only negative effects. Okay?
Agreed.
Now, I would argue that there are many other conditions. Well, the technical term is neurotypical and neuroatypical. So a neurotypical person is a person that doesn't have significant mental disorders.
Uh-huh.
Everyone has mental disorders.
Yes!
Look no further than COVID. 50% of people were depressed during COVID. 50%.
I would probably say it was probably higher than that.
It probably was, but like...
Everyone was depressed for some reason or another.
Yeah!
50% of people were medically treated for it.
No, not medically treated, but the what you're looking for is could be diagnosed.
Could be diagnosed for it.
Whether or not they were diagnosed is besides the point, because some people just, like I did many years ago, some people just power through it and don't get diagnosed.
Yeah, no shit.
As you would be able to attest yourself. So, if 50% of people can have the symptoms of depression at once, everyone has symptoms of mental illness from time to time.
Yes.
That is just part of being human. It is very human. As the TikToks you liked. It's very human. The design is very human.
I love those TikToks.
It's so funny. So, just to...
and no hair patch?
No hair patch? No head patch? So, just to go back to my argument for a moment. In my opinion, you have neurotypical and neuroatypical. So, examples of people who are neuroatypical would be people who have autism, people who have dyslexia, people who have, let's see, what would be some other examples? People who have face blindness, people who have issues with memory.
What's face blindness?
Face blindness. Okay, so there is a very specific region of the brain that recognizes faces. Unsurprisingly, they didn't know before they studied it that this is what they would find. But it is not surprising that human beings would have evolved a specialized area of the brain to recognize other human beings' faces. That makes sense. Dogs can easily recognize other dogs by their smell.
Yes.
Chimpanzees can recognize other chimpanzees in their social circle. Despite the fact that we see a chimpanzee, I mean, if we're not trained, if we're not a zookeeper, we see a chimpanzee and we're like, okay, that's a chimp. They don't really look that much different from other chimps to me. But chimpanzees have no trouble differentiating between different members of their community. In the same way, human beings have a specialized area in the brain that helps us to recognize people's faces. And if that part of the brain is damaged, whether because of a tumor or, whatever, or it didn't develop properly in the womb, or, whatever, it can be really anything. But if that part of the brain is damaged, then the person has what's called face blindness. So that means that for these people, and it really sucks, it sounds like, to be this type of person, but for these people, they can recognize a person based on things like their voice, their type of clothing, their hair, do they sound male or female? These types of indicators, they have no problem differentiating, but they cannot recognize someone based on their face alone.
Yes, correct.
So that is face blindness. But again, it would be a type of neuroatypical disorder. Okay?
Yes.
So I don't even remember where I heard this, but I would have to look through my Audible library probably to find the book where I read this. But there is an interesting theory in the psychology community from psychologists, counselors, etc. There's an interesting theory that what we call disorders like autism or dyslexia are not diseases, quote unquote. So in my classification, and again, this is primarily based on my research and understanding, so I'm not an expert, but in my classification, something like fetal alcohol syndrome would be a disease because it only has negative effects. So, if somebody gets a really bad flu, you don't call that a disorder. You call that a disease, because there is only a negative effect. No one wants to have the flu, or very few people want to have the flu. It is a disease. It only has negative effects. Now, for approximately 200 years, mental disorders have been treated as diseases. But modern psychological research is proving that to be an incorrect approach. Treating someone who has dyslexia as if they need to be cured is a fool's errand.
It is!
Darling, let's assume, for the sake of argument, that the world's greatest reading teacher sat down with you for 10 years. Could they cure your dyslexia? Probably not.
Could they teach me methods, implements, and ways to read?
No, circumventing it is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about curing it.
You can't cure it.
Right. And so it is not...
If I haven't figured out a way of curing it in 20 fucking years, I don't think anyone can. It's not something you cure, it's something that you take a fucking freight train, you drop you drop it into first fucking gear, and you just go at it.
That is your approach to life, for sure.
And that is how I am capable of reading at all, is because I force myself to read.
Exactly.
Not well, unfortunately, but it's still taking a freight train to a problem.
Correct. And now I will speak from my own personal experience of being autistic. I do not think that autism is a disease. The same way that I do not think that being gay is a disease.
Being gay is fun. Why wouldn't you want to be happy in this world?
Well, that's more semantics rather than psychology. But, you know, if you went back to a psychologist in the 1960s and you said, I am a homosexual man, they would say, oh yes, you have a disease. The disease of homosexuality. It must be cured. And we know for sure that that was wrong.
The Roman Empire existed for thousands of years. They were pretty cool with you being gay. Actually, they encouraged. Actually, it was part of their fucking culture.
Yes. It was, not only was it encouraged, it was the norm to be bisexual.
Yes.
Like, it was normal.
Spartans. I would love it if we could bring a couple hundred Spartans to our current time. And then, at that point, teach them, have universal translators so they can speak English in front of, and just bring them in front of the most anti-gay congregation ever, and watch them piss themselves because you just brought 300 strapped, muscled out gay men.
What if this would be actually very funny to do as like a YouTube skit. What if you brought back a Spartan with a time machine and he was like, hey guys, Spartacus here.
No, they're like, hey guys, Spartacus here.
No, darling, I'm saying it as a joke. Like, it would be very funny if you had this really, like, big, muscle-bound guy, and he's like, hey guys, Spartacus here. I'm a Spartan. I during the day, I fight for Sparta, and at night, I do some mosaic work. I make beautiful mosaics for bathhouses. And I just have lots of gay sex. It's great. It's great.
That'd be so funny. Well, the alternative would be you bring a Spartan back and they're like, Spartan here! Hi! I'm gay! What's your problem with it?
See, and
It's
that
like Muscle Man Randy Savage is gay.
that would be much more likely to be what would happen.
That would be awesome.
That would be great. See, here's what I would envision happening. Is you would bring back this Spartan from ancient times.
Oh shit, we brought back Leonidas. God damn it! Now they lost. They lost their battle at Thermopylae. Damn it!
Well, you would do it, right before he died, for example, so that it doesn't change history.
Well,
And so here's what would happen, okay? At least this is what I would imagine would happen. So Leonidas would come onto our show and be like, "Hey guys, Leonidas here." Oh God. Sorry, we're passing by a billboard with a bunch of Jesus' blood all over it. That's kind of disgusting. But anyway.
yes, guys.
I personally do not like blood. That is just me.
The Christian faith. Let's use a symbol that Christians, I have a genius idea. Let's use a torture device as our symbol of worship. We love you, Jesus. We love the thing you were killed on. Not any of the other things that you did. It's like, we love you because you saved lepers and...
What if we made a chapel in the White House for every different religion? So we would have a Christian chapel. We might have a Jewish chapel. We might have a Muslim chapel.
And a boat Mormon chapel.
A Mormon chapel.
No, a boat Mormon.
A what?
Boat Mormon.
Boat Mormon?
Yep.
What is that?
Don't worry. It is a callback to a skit by Door Monster.
Okay. Yes, got it. Oh, no, I remember this now. Okay. Yes, not important right now, my love. Reel back the ADHD by about 10%.
Ah!
So.
Where are we going?
You are. So here is what I want to conclude this segment of the podcast with, okay?
Yep.
I ask, why? Why are so many people so dumb? And that sounds like a rhetorical question. But I am asking it seriously because, again, think about 50 or 60 years ago. You would have said, a psychologist would have said, "Oh yes, being gay is a disease. It must be cured through shock therapy," or whatever. And we have a knowledge now that that was wrong.
Yes.
In fact, by our modern definition, we would call that torture.
Agreed.
So,
oh, and back in those times, heaven forbid you ever try to masturbate. Because
oh God.
Oh, okay, they're doing construction. Because, regardless of your sexuality, masturbating was a bad thing in their eyes. So,
well, that was specifically a Christian thing. Specifically a Victorian Christian thing.
yeah, it's a very strange thing to my mind.
Uh-huh.
Masturbating is wrong, so let's teach all the children how to be sadomasochists and keep their dicks pent up. Genius!
Genius.
We call that a fetish these days.
Let's reel it back just a little bit. I'm trying to finish my point, my love. It is
Okay.
important to finish this point because it affects you specifically. This point is important to you, and I want to finish it so you can respond.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, my love. All right, so in my opinion, and is primarily an opinion, but it is also based on the research that I've done. In my opinion, calling mental disorders like dyslexia, ADHD, autism, even things that are more serious, like schizophrenia. Calling these things diseases, in my opinion, is very wrong. Because why do these quote-unquote diseases, in my opinion, a better word would be disorders, why do these disorders exist? So here is the answer to your question. I have been trying to answer your question. Here is the answer to your question, okay? Why did these things evolve? Now, unfortunately, for the sake of the scientists out there, we can't go back in time and run a million-year-long experiment on apes and figure it out that way. But what we can do is we can look at history and we can look at psychology and figure out our best guess. That is called evolutionary psychology. So, just for the sake of understanding, let me give a very quick example, okay? Why are people horny? The reason why is because it makes baby.
Yes.
It make baby, so evolution says, yes, more baby, more horny. This is not difficult to understand. Oh, I see we have a baby in our audience. Was that you doing a baby voice, or was that you doing a puppy voice?
Puppy.
Uh-huh. Sure. So, that is an example of evolutionary psychology. So we can't go back in time and ask Mother Nature 7 billion years ago or whatever. We can't go back in time and ask the world why horniness evolved in the first place. Dinosaurs were very horny. There were lots of dinosaurs. We can't go back in time and ask them in English why they were horny. But we can figure it out through logic, through a thought experiment. So, it's time for a thought experiment, my love. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so here is the thought experiment. Premise. Mental disorders exist.
Yes.
No one could argue with that. Autism exists. ADHD exists. That is the premise of the argument. So the question we are asking in our thought experiment is, why does autism exist? Why does dyslexia exist? Etc. So I'm going to use the example of autism because that is one that I am very, 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 very well acquainted with. So, I'm going to use the Socratic method, okay? And you are going to find the answer. Are you ready?
Yep.
He hates the Socratic method. It's great. Your frustration with the Socratic method is very fun. Darling, it is frustrating by design.
Of course it is.
Darling, have you read Socrates? His students hated when he did it. They thought it was very annoying. But they learned a lot. Okay, are you ready?
Yep.
So, autism. I'm going to describe some activity that an autistic person might enjoy doing. Okay? Making baskets. Okay? So the process of making a basket back in the day, back 1,000 or 2,000 years ago, the process was collect reeds from the swamp.
Yep.
Dry them out.
Yep.
And then weave them together to make a basket. Now, this is a very tedious task for most people. Most people would not be like, yeah, I totally want to sit down and weave something for 10 hours today. Right? For a person with ADHD, that would be excruciating. At least I would assume. Especially if someone was forcing you to do it. Right?
Yes.
If your teacher in school sat you down and gave you a bunch of reeds from the swamp and said, make basket, you can leave at 3 o'clock, you would hate that.
It's the equivalent of having a desk job.
Correct.
I hate desk jobs.
Yes.
I need to get the job done in the most efficient way possible. Get the fuck out of my way.
Correct.
I've got this. Don't tell me how to do my job. I will tell everyone in this room how to do the job quickly and efficiently. Everyone sit down. Everyone shut the fuck up. I'm a supervisor. I'm going to use my method. No.
My method is better.
No, it's not. Sit down. Shut up.
Correct. And so, here's the thing. That method of thinking is not wrong.
No.
Neither is the autistic method of thinking. An autistic person, on average, not every autistic person, because autism is a very wide spectrum disorder, but most autistic people, once they learned how to make a basket, would happily sit for 10 hours a day and weave baskets. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That is the type of task that I would love. I would love to weave baskets. That would be great. I would have great joy doing that task. Now, the fact is that you, as an ADHD person,
Yep.
would hate it. Probably. Especially if someone was forcing you to do it.
I mean, basket weaving is just a form of craft.
I'm making a point. Hold on.
Okay.
Basket weaving is not the point. The point is there are tasks that you would love and I would hate.
Yes.
We come across this all the time. I hate driving. I hate it. I used to drive only by absolute desperate necessity. Like getting to college. I had to drive to college so that I could finish my degree. Once I got to college, my car stayed parked like 95% of the time. 95% of the days, my car did not move because I do not enjoy driving. So that is an example of a task that I hate doing. It makes me anxious. It makes me frustrated. It makes me upset. It makes me autism-ree to have to drive. But my understanding is that for you, it is something that you enjoy doing, right?
Yes.
So again, maybe basket weaving is not the best example, but I'm saying that there are examples of tasks that you enjoy doing and I do not. Now, we happen to both be neuroatypical.
Yes.
But this also happens with neurotypical and neuroatypical people. So what would be an example of a task that a neurotypical person would enjoy doing? You know, a person who doesn't have ADHD, doesn't have dyslexia, doesn't have any type of, severe mental disorder. What would be an example of a task they would enjoy doing?
I'm gonna be honest. I have yet to find someone that is. Oh, what word did we use? Neurotypical?
Neurotypical, yeah.
For neurotypical for someone who's mentally normal.
Fair enough.
I have never met an individual neurotypical because I don't hang out with people that are neurotypical. Everyone I know is neuroatypical in some capacity. They are some of the most interesting people. Neurotypical people are boring to me because they have no stories.
Fair enough. So let me help you with this. So I will answer my own Socratic question, okay?
Okay.
Sports are an example of something that most neurotypical people enjoy. Whether playing sports, or watching sports, or whatever. Now, there are obviously many neuroatypical football fans, but on average, when I meet a person who is neuroatypical, or someone who has autism, ADHD, dyslexia, whatever, on average, they do not enjoy watching football.
Football's such a easy game to pay attention to and watch. It's boring.
I agree.
Person A hits a right hook while the front line takes care of, basically kills each other, and the quarterback has all the glory because he's the one throwing the damn football around. Oh no, the quarterback got hit because the man in front, the front line guard, didn't do his job correctly, therefore they get pushed back 10 yards.
Right, and so...
This is boring!
See, because here's the thing. You know what to expect from a football game.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, most neurotypical people want that type of entertainment. They want to watch things that are familiar to them. So, for example, the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I only watch every, 1 in 5 movies, just because, they're kind of interesting to watch, but realistically, oh no, Thanos, you're gonna kill us all, you created drama, you killed a bunch of people, and then we went back in time and we saved the world. Yay us, we're the Avengers. Not an interesting story.
Right.
A video game has a very interesting story. Take Skyrim, for example. I've put thousands of hours into Skyrim.
Sure.
Oh, the main story. Oh, you're the wandering hero and you managed to save the dragon, you managed to save the world, kill the dragon, and, you saved the world, killed the dragon, and that's it. Or, hey, there's a side quest here. There's another side quest. Oh, I can turn people into chickens now. That's fucking awesome. Oh, wait, what's this sword do? It steals people's souls. Yes, purge the heretic. Oh, what? Oh, what's this other video game? Oh, I get to be a space marine and scream obscenities in high gothic? Why not? There's 20 other people hanging out with me? Fuck yeah, let's do it. Right. Not, it's like, oh, this is, you're not leading people correctly. I don't care, I'm having fun. Right. I'm a better leader than half you idiots.
Right.
And I'm doing this because this is fun.
So again, let's come back down to earth for just a moment.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to make a point. I'm trying to answer your question, my love.
Okay.
So I want to hear what you have to say, but I also want to focus on the topic so that I can answer your question.
Okay.
The answer to your question, why autism exists, is complicated.
Yes.
The answer to your question, why do people have ADHD, is complicated. I can't give you a one-sentence answer to your question because that would be oversimplifying it.
Yes.
Okay? So let me explain. Alright? We're done with the Socratic method for now because we are getting off on a tangent every time I ask a question. So I'm going to just tell you. Alright?
Okay.
So the best guess from current psychological research is that in the distant past, people lived in groups of about 100 to 150 individuals. So, this explains so much about human beings.
It really does.
I cannot stress how much of the world you will understand with this one piece of information. For 99% of human existence, cities did not exist.
No, they didn't. And here's why. The cities didn't exist mainly because groups of individuals, A, either stuck to themselves, or B, were relatively self-sufficient.
Well, I mean, there have always been loners in human society, just the same way there are loner lions. But most lions live in a pride of around 20 to 30 individuals. So in the same way that lions live in prides and they have a social structure, human beings lived in what are called Dunbar number societies. So I've explained the concept of the Dunbar number to you before, but just to recap for any listener who hasn't heard of this, is the Dunbar number is about how many people you can personally know, like as a friend.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, and this is research done by Dunbar himself and by many others since then, most people have one romantic partner.
Yep.
Or a few romantic partners. You know, you're not going to have 100 romantic partners unless you're very strange like me. I'm joking. I don't have 100 romantic partners. You probably, however, most people have several more sexual partners. Most people, again, we're talking about on average. We're not. Anyone can come up with. When it comes to psychology, there are always exceptions. That is, the fact that there are exceptions to these things is not a surprise. But there are, for most people, on the average person, most people have one romantic partner, maybe 2 or 3 sexual partners at any given time, maybe 5 close friends, like best friends, quote unquote. 5 or so best friends. And maybe about, depending on how extroverted or introverted the person is, maybe around 10 to 50 friends. And when I say friends, that also includes family members, because when I say friend, I just mean a person that you have a close relationship with, but you're not a romantic partner. You're not a sexual partner with your family, I hope. I hope that none of the listeners are sexual partners with their close family.
I hope so, too. If not, well, that place is called Alabama.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry if you live in Alabama. If it's a cultural thing,
it's not.
If it's just something you do, I personally don't care. Don't do it. It creates weird things in your bloodline. Other than that,
don't create children with it.
Don't create children with it. Please.
Because that creates suffering. Anyway, the specifics of human genetics are a whole different podcast that we can do at some other time. But, like I said, with this knowledge of this one thing, it explains so much about human beings. So, all of these different classifications that I've mentioned, again, are roughly average for most people. Now, regardless of how many friends you have, how big your family is, how many siblings you have, how many college friends you have, whatever, most people have about 100 relationships in their friend group, quote unquote, at any given time. So, this includes everyone you know. So this would include the obvious things like a romantic partner, friends, teachers, co-workers, all of that. Anybody can think of those things really obviously, but it also includes people like celebrities that you keep track of. Now, I know that you do not keep track of celebrities personally, but this would include people that you know of. So Elon Musk would be part of your Dunbar number.
Yes.
Because this is a human being that you have basic knowledge about. You know his name, and you know the basic facts about him, and you know something about what's going on in his life. You may not know the specifics, but you know, oh, this person is a billionaire. This person owns the company Tesla. This person has a wife. You know, these types of facts are things you know about people that are in your Dunbar number.
Yes.
Okay? So anybody that you know those basic facts about is in your Dunbar number. A very simple rule of thumb is if you know the person's name and a few basic facts about them, they are part of your Dunbar number. And it is very clear from many different avenues of research that people can know in this way a maximum of around 100 to 150 people at a time. Now, to get back to your question.
Yes.
Your question is, why ADHD happened?
Yes.
So, what percentage of the population is ADHD not of?
I would say about 60%.
No. Incorrect. That is way off. Let's look it up, because I actually don't know. I have not looked at the research on this in a bit, so I just don't remember off the top of my head. Let's find out. What percentage? 60%. If 60% of people were ADHD, nothing would ever get done. Because the other 40% of us who do not have ADHD would be fighting against the ADHD people to get anything done, ever.
I disagree with you. Mostly because I get a lot done in a very short amount of time.
Darling, we will talk about this after the podcast, because you are wrong. Alright. The worldwide prevalence of adult ADHD is estimated at around 3%.
Okay.
3% is much more accurate of an estimate. Okay? So out of a group of, let's say, 100 people in a tribe of humans living on the savannah 100,000 years ago, around 3 of those people would have ADHD. Okay? Now, how many people are LGBT?
4%? 5%?
Around 4 to 5% of people are gay, specifically. Around... it varies widely, because in our culture it's not very socially acceptable to talk about, but around 10% in addition are bisexual. And then about another 5% are something else. So, whether that's transgender, gender fluid, non-binary, however you want to classify it, around 10% around 5% of people are just something else in relation to LGBT. Okay?
Got it.
So that would be around 20%. Okay? Somewhere, and estimates vary widely because it is extremely difficult to study. But somewhere around 10 to 20% of people are LGBT. So in a group of 100 human beings back on the savannah, somewhere around 10 to 20 of those 100 would be LGBT. And I would assume that most people can think about their group of friends, their group of coworkers, acquaintances, all of that. I could say, that tracks. That makes sense. You probably do not know 100 people who are LGBT, but you might know 20 people who are LGBT. Right?
Yeah.
So, let's bring it back to ADHD, because that is what's important to you. Okay? Why would it be helpful? Okay, I was about to go into Socratic method again. I need to finish my argument. All right?
Yes.
It is helpful in a society to have a few percent of the population with disorders, quote unquote, of the brain, because it helps the tribe survive.
How does ADHD help anyone survive?
Darling, you are exceptionally good at noticing animals. Darling, lions live on the savannah and eat humans.
Fair enough.
Having 3 people in the tribe, in terms of ADHD, mostly male.
Going, ooh, shiny thing. Oh, that's
Oh!
funny.
Oh! Lion coming! Lion! Run away!
Get gun.
They didn't have guns on the savannah! Get bows and arrows!
Get addle.
Yes, having 3 people in the tribe that are exceptionally good at seeing animals far away
Yes.
is probably why ADHD still exists in the genetic component of human beings.
I didn't think of it that way.
Now, the
ADHD didn't do me much good in school, but
school is a modern invention.
believe it or not, I'm actually a pretty decent hunter.
You think?
I'm a very efficient hunter.
You think?
Personally, I only do it as a means to an end of survival. I only would hunt as a means of an end.
Sure, hunting quail, for example, would be something I'm sure you would enjoy doing. Because it's a lot more active than, like, sitting and waiting for a deer.
Exactly.
It's, walking around, you're in the woods, you're having fun, you're probably with some buddies.
Exactly.
That's the type of hunting. He might as well be a reincarnated dog. I'm sure the listeners are not surprised by that. But that is the type of hunting that dogs love to do. Dogs love duck hunting.
Yes.
Dogs love pheasant hunting.
They do, because it's fun.
It's fun. You get to run around, you get to spend time with human, you get to eat meat. Dogs love eating meat. Of course they do. They're carnivores.
It's like driving down the highway. My partner here could miss 17 deer on the side of the road.
Uh-huh.
I spot every single one of them. Going
Correct.
60.
Now, darling, let's put this in a different way, okay?
Yep.
Let's say that out of a tribe of 100 people, 20 of those people, mostly male, probably, go out and hunt for the tribe.
Yes.
Would having 3 of those people be excellent marksmen and trackers be helpful in helping the tribe survive?
I would sure as shit hope so.
So, in a tribal society, and again, we can look and see this in real time. We can see this today in, say, tribes in the Amazon or Native American tribes that have not significantly changed their way of life. We can see today this in action.
Agreed.
ADHD in a tribe of humans living in the jungle is not a disease.
No.
It is an advantage.
Yes. It is a modifier.
It is a positive modifier.
Yes.
So that is the answer to your question. That is why there is a genetic component in the human brain that is a disorder in a lot of people. Because back in the day, it helped the tribe to survive. So, it only took me an hour to answer your question, but there's the answer.
I see.
Now, if there's anything you would like to say in response, go right ahead, because I've been talking for a long time. So,
Now,
go ahead.
for the next topic, we'll talk about how ADHD can be managed in this modern society where we're not needing to hunt constantly.
That's a good idea. All right, so let me end this segment, and we'll go into commercial break, and we'll do another one, okay? All right, welcome back to the show. I hope you enjoyed that message from our sponsor. And real quick before we do the next segment, what is the other sponsor of this episode?
American Wood Art.
American Wood Art! A wonderful company owned by my partner, Trey Playstead. Link Labrador, tell us about American Wood Art. He's a bit tired. Okay. American Wood Art is a studio, an art studio that creates art from wood. I mean, that's pretty obvious based on the name, but just to be clear, he creates beautiful wooden pens. He's working on being able to create chess sets, and he makes things like furniture, all kinds of cool stuff. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check out our website. He is the owner of the company, just for financial disclosure reasons, for the FCC.
Yeah.
But check it out. It's got great stuff on there. You can get some gifts if you're looking for a gift for a family member, for something like, a Father's Day gift, a Christmas gift, that kind of thing. It's perfect for that. So, how much is one of the wooden pens, my dear?
About $100.
About $100. So, it is a higher than average price for a pen, but it is also much higher than average quality. So you pay for what you get. You get what you pay for, basically. This pen will be a family heirloom. It is beautiful. Yeah. It is a work of art. And that's why it's expensive. Because you can't mass produce them. You have to sit there and actually carve it out. He is a master of this craft. And so, if you're interested in that, please check out our website. And the website that you can find all of our personal stuff is furrypresident.com. So, our next topic, you said, was how to manage ADHD in the modern world. Now, I would like to modify that topic just a little bit, okay?
Yep.
So, let's do it in a slightly different way, because I don't think that specific form of the question is as helpful as saying it this way, okay? So, is ADHD in the modern world, because unfortunately we don't live in a hunter-gatherer society where everyone had enough to eat and plenty of time to have sex all the time. I wish we did. That would be much better. Unsurprisingly, in tribal societies, the idea of mental illness is a foreign concept to them. Depression, anxiety, these types of diseases, obesity, these types of diseases do not exist in hunter-gatherer societies.
No!
Have you ever in your life seen a person from the Amazon rainforest who is 400 pounds? It doesn't happen.
No!
It can't happen, in fact, because in a hunter-gatherer society, it takes about as much energy to get the calories of food as are received back as food. So, it takes about as much energy to go and hunt a deer or catch a fish as you get in calories from eating it. So you can't be 400 pounds, or else you would die, because you can't run after the deer and catch it.
Exactly.
So anyway, these, in my opinion, the way that we treat these types of diseases is 100% backwards. depression is a disease. Autism and ADHD are not. Because depression only is only negative. There's no upside to feeling sad all the time. Oh yes, I would like to be depressed, someone might. No one would ever say that. I would like to be anxious and have panic attacks. No one would ever say that. But you might meet a person who would say, man, in fact, I will say it to you now, okay? It's not even an example. It's not even a hypothetical. I will say it to you now. I admire the way that your mind works, that you live in the moment. People like me, who are worriers, like my mother and my grandmother, people like me work for decades on the meditation mat to get to where your mind is. To let go of worry, to let go of anxiety, to let go of depression and need, and just enjoy life for what it is. Life is terrible for most people. This is the tenet of Buddhism. People do not understand Buddhism unless they study it. The Buddha did not claim to be divine. The Buddha did not claim to have special supernatural powers. Here is what the Buddha taught if you actually go back and read it. This is what he taught. Life is suffering. Being alive is to suffer. And so, the only way to rid your life of suffering permanently is to stop caring about suffering. The only way to stop suffering, according to the Buddha, is to let go of suffering. So, for example, what was the TV show we were watching this morning?
Blippi? Not Blippi. Bluey.
Bluey. Yes, Bluey. So, did you enjoy watching that show?
It's super cute.
I enjoyed watching it too. Now, if I told some of those rich, snooty assholes at Elmo's Steakhouse that I was watching Bluey this morning,
They'd stub your nose.
they'd go, "Oh, that's so stupid. Why would you want to do that? That's so childish." Well, I don't care what some rich, stupid idiot thinks,
Well, you see.
because it makes me happy.
Well, you see, you can call me an idiot. But, on the other hand, how many things do you worry about during the day? What's your blood pressure at currently? And has your doctor told you to settle down just a little bit?
Uh-huh. Maybe those, 50 or so % of the people in the St. Elmo Steakhouse that we went to who were obese should stop eating so much red meat. Maybe. Judging people for being happy is always a bad idea. Always.
Yes!
No person on earth has had their life made better by being judged by another person. No person on earth has had their life made better by being judged for being happy. I would encourage you, if you are a parent or if you are a teacher, to be cautious in how you speak to children. You don't have to change you don't have to change yourself in a fundamental way, but just be cautious in how you speak to children. Because what causes things like PTSD, for example. Something that I have a lot of experience with because of my asshole, homophobic, racist parents.
And me too. Due to my biological drug addict, good for nothing, sadistic biological parents. I was adopted. I had PTSD. I had a lot of things. As a 3-year-old should not have PTSD in this world. I'm sorry.
Jesus. Yes.
3, 4, 5. I didn't. Again. It happened when I was very young.
Mm-hmm.
I had a very loving family.
Right.
Very helpful family.
Your adopted family or a biological family?
My biologic family is next to fucking useless.
Right. Okay, so you're talking about your adopted family.
My adopted family, which
Right.
is my family. It's not adopted family,
Yes.
it's just my family.
No, I know that, but the listeners do not. So we're just clarifying, okay?
Just to be clear, with you audience, your family is who you choose to be. It doesn't have to be blood related. Hell, half the time your blood related family are not, could be dead to you.
Well, here's the thing. Darling, what type of person has a baby in a bad circumstance? A careless person.
Yes.
Take your brother, for example.
He's had 2 children. Maybe 3. It's hard to tell.
Now, I'm not saying that your brother is a bad person, but I'm saying that, yes, your brother is not a thoughtful person.
No,
Because he has had multiple children by accident.
I think the second one could have been planned. For some ungodly reason, I think it may have been planned out just a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not sure what possessed them to have a second child, but
Okay.
I have, unsurprisingly, I personally do not care for my brother's girlfriend. I really don't care what she does. I prefer if she not be in my brother's life whatsoever. But, unfortunately, that's not my decision to make.
Right. Well, and here's the thing, my love. Let's get back to our topic, okay?
Yep.
Because whether or not your brother's girlfriend is an asshole is not something that the listeners particularly care about.
Yeah.
Let's get back to our topic, okay? So here's what I want to point out. To anyone who works with children, whether when I say work with, anyone who interacts regularly with children, which is most people. Most people have children. Most people either have children or have a job where they work with children, or both. So, this is advice that applies to most people. As a person who was an autistic child, who was told probably hundreds of times, just be more normal. Just stop acting that way. Stop being weird. Stop being stupid. This was told to me as a child hundreds of times. As a person who is now an adult and can think back on those times with maturity, fuck you! I was a child. How was I supposed to know that what I was doing was weird? I was autistic, you asshole. The fact that I didn't want to make eye contact with you is not me being rude. It is me being mentally handicapped, you fucking idiot. So, perhaps have a mustard seed worth of compassion for mentally handicapped children. And that is my soapbox for the day.
I see. I gotta start using that line a little more.
What?
That is my soapbox for the day.
Yeah.
Can you believe we're basically idling the engine at like 60 miles an hour?
Well, we are going downhill, so...
We're at, a mere 30 miles a gallon.
That's awesome.
28.3.
That's great. But to clarify my point, because I was very emphatic. To clarify my point, telling a child stop being weird is almost never positive.
No.
If the child is happy, let the child be happy.
The child is a puppy.
Yes, you don't scold a puppy for running in circles.
No, you join them and you try and keep... you don't scold them for running in circles. They're being spazzy little puppies. You call them a spaz monkey.
But
What the fuck?
many people would scold a child for running in circles. Or scold an autistic child for doing repetitive behaviors. Darling, do you know what repetitive behaviors are for an autistic child? So, let me give you some examples, okay? The same way that you like to fidget with stuff because of ADHD.
Yep.
An autistic child, and I'm sure you've seen this because they don't hide it by any means. An autistic child might rock back and forth, for example.
I've seen a lot of that.
Or an autistic child might bounce their leg, or tap their fingers, or something like that.
Or speak incessantly about trucks.
Right. That is not an autistic child trying to annoy you. That is them comforting themselves in a stressful situation.
Yes.
Darling, if a puppy is chasing his tail to feel better in a stressful situation, do you spank that puppy?
No, you give the puppy a hug.
Uh-huh.
Or you pet them and you say... Actually, I've heard in some circumstances it's better not to do anything with the puppy and let them come to you and let them work it out, because if you give them positive reinforcement over a stressful situation, they believe in their puppy mind,
right,
positive reinforcement equals stressful thing equals good thing.
Right.
Which is the opposite of what you want in a well-trained puppy. So,
yes,
typically what you do is you let the puppies come to you, right, and let them settle themselves down.
Right. And so, this is a great example of, and again, I'm not speaking as a person who is an expert, teacher of children. I've worked with children a lot at the campground, but I am not, a trained elementary school teacher, for example. I am speaking primarily from my experience as many years of being an autistic child. That approach would have been much more effective with me as a child. Oh, you're tapping your foot? Okay, that's fine. Is there anything I can do to help? Because a child, unlike a puppy, has the power of language. At least in most cases. Some autistic children are nonverbal, but fortunately I don't have that problem. Mm-hmm. So just ask the child, what's going on? Why is this a difficult concept for people to understand?
It isn't.
Children are not robots.
They're puppies.
Children are not stupid. A lack of knowledge is not being retarded.
Now, let's go into the clinical definition of retarded.
Sure.
The clinical definition of retarded is simply slower than average to understand a...
Hold on. So the clinical definition is not at the age level of your physical age. That is why it's, quote, retarded, retarded means slow. So slow development. Slow development in terms of the person's age.
Yes.
So again, my aunt is on about a 12-year-old level. If she was 12 years old, that would be normal. So, retarded, quote-unquote, which, again, that word is now a dirty word. Most people don't use that word anymore because it has been used to abuse people.
Yes.
So, a more accurate word would be something like developmentally disabled.
Yes.
Which it means the same thing. It's just a less emphatic word.
It's frilly language.
Right. But the meaning is the same.
It is.
Developmentally disabled. If a child is 5 years old, but is at the level of a 3-year-old child, they are developmentally disabled. They're not stupid. They're not, unable to do anything. They're not an invalid lying in bed, unable to move.
They're not a vegetable.
Right, and again, even being a vegetable, that's not a problem if that is all the person can do. My point is that treating people who do have mental disorders or mental conditions as if they want to be that way only causes hurt. Darling, if you had the option, would you have chosen to be dyslexic?
No!
So, scolding you as a child for being dyslexic has no positive benefit whatsoever, correct?
Has zero benefit. Has a negative benefit, weirdly enough.
As a negative effect, absolutely.
Has a negative effect. It leaves me only hating the fucking disease for everything it's fucking worth.
Right. Why do you think I hated talking on the phone when I was a child? Because whenever I talk to people on the phone, they say, "Oh, you sound weird. Stop being weird. Stop being dumb. Stop being retarded." I am not retarded. I have always been far above my peers in terms of academic performance.
Yes.
I am not by any means the world's smartest person. Not in any way. But in terms of, a test, a standardized test, for example, I generally score either in the 98th or 99th percentile. And so, again, we come back to the idea of the Dunbar number. So in a tribe of 100 individuals, I would be probably the first, second, third, or fourth smartest person. That tracks with my experience. I often meet people who are smarter than me. That happens a lot. Especially in a place with smart people, like a college. I was not anywhere near the smartest person at my college, but I was in the top 5 or so percent.
So
no one would argue with that.
So you were on the dean's list all the time? Good boy.
Oh God, yeah. I graduated in the honor roll easily.
Yeah, fair enough.
Easily. It wasn't even hard for me. I took honors classes not because I needed to, not because I had to, but because the other classes were too easy.
Oh my God.
I took chemistry instead of physical science because I knew that if I took physical science, I would be bored out of my mind. I could take the test for the final for physical science on the first day and probably get a B. Just because I am a person who enjoys science. Why would I want to go and take a class where I am going to be so bored that I might as well be, jacking off my dick the entire class and still get an A. Why would I want to do that? That's not fun. That's not challenging. That's not interesting.
No!
So I took chemistry, the most difficult class I have ever taken. Calculus was not even challenging for me. Calculus was easy for me. Calculus, college-level calculus 1 and 2. I did not have to take calculus. I could have taken whatever the basic mathematics course was for the college. But I would have been so bored taking algebra. What's the point? Why would I want to do that? I would be so bored that I would not want to be there. Whereas taking calculus and chemistry, it was fascinating. I wanted to be there because it was hard. Because it was hard, it was interesting to me. Because I'm autistic! Why would I want to take an easy class when I could take a hard class and be the best in the difficult class and be respected for it? That, to me, is very rewarding. I took chemistry, and I had the second highest grade on the final ever. In that teacher's 20 years of teaching, I had the second highest grade in the most difficult class that I've ever taken. The second highest by 1%. I think it was a 97. He had one person get a 98 once. In 20 years. And I did that because I wanted to. Not because I had to, because I wanted to.
Now, when I was in high school, I took woodworking and carpentry.
Because you wanted to!
Do you know what? Do you know what I graduated with?
Tell me.
High honors.
Of course you did!
High honors in 2 difficult vocations.
Yes!
Breezed through them. Perfect scores on damn near every project.
Uh-huh.
I wound up finishing a house. I wound up finishing the shed that we were building.
Yep.
By myself.
Wow.
Towards the end of it.
Wow.
I finished that thing by myself ahead of the other class team that had more people.
Right.
Don't get in my way. I will run you over like a fucking freight train, and I will not stop to think one anu of, I feel bad for myself because I'm on my own. No, screw you. The rest of you people abandoned me. So I got this.
So this is a perfect example. I was having trouble coming up with an exact example earlier.
Yep.
These are great examples. I succeeded in chemistry and calculus because I am autistic. You succeeded in carpentry and woodworking because you have dyslexia and ADHD.
Yes!
You are an intuitive thinker.
Mm-hmm.
I am a mathematical thinker.
Yes!
I think in terms of language and math.
And I think in terms of physics, physical exertion.
Physics?
Physical exertion.
Sure.
I think in terms of physical exertion and efficiency. Knowing that...
Well, let me help you with this, my dear.
Let me elaborate. As far as efficiency goes, I try and find the most efficient way of putting together complex series of events into individual components. Sure. My organizing skills, unfortunately, are not the greatest. I'm sorry, I'm not exactly the most organized person.
That's
That's okay.
I try to be, and I'm a lot more organized than I was before.
Oh, God. I am so sorry.
Yeah, I've always been working on... Oh, and puzzles, 3D puzzles, any
Sure.
kind of puzzle whatsoever. I'm out of practice, but
Well, and
pretty good at it.
So, this is actually a really interesting thing. So, let me define it for you, and you can let me know if it's roughly accurate, because this is how I would define your style of intelligence. You are an intuitive thinker, and you have high emotional intelligence. I am the opposite. I have almost no emotional intelligence. I may be a sociopath. I don't know. I've never been diagnosed. But I would say that the diagnosis of autism is much more accurate. Because we were talking about this earlier. I may have what could be defined as sociopathy. I don't know. I've never been diagnosed with it. And when I went in to talk to the psychologist about my mental conditions, he didn't mention that as a possible diagnosis, as far as I recall. But here's the thing. I choose to have empathy. I do not naturally have empathy for anyone. Even romantic partners. I do not immediately have empathy for them. It takes me, generally speaking, at minimum, a couple of weeks for me to feel empathy for a partner. And for a person I meet on the street, I do not feel empathy for that person. Now, I choose to have... I choose to act with empathy, even if I don't feel it. Like I have said, you can ask anyone who is vendors during the pony conventions that actually knew me and didn't just assume that I was an asshole. Oh, I'm so sorry that I hurt your feelings by being autistic. Fuck you. You can ask anyone from that time when I was working as draw ponies. You can ask anyone. If anyone asked me for help, if anyone needed help, I was happy to give it. In whatever way that I could. Because the people in the vendor hall are not competitors to me. I am so much better at sales than all of them combined that they are not even on the same planet as me in terms of sales. That's fine. I am glad that that person came here with their sketchbook and a couple of posters and they made $500. That's great. If they would like some help learning how to be a better salesperson, I am more than happy to teach them.
Yes.
If they need a place to stay, they are more than welcome to stay in my hotel room. If they don't have money to stay in the hotel, I can give them a space for free.
Uh-huh.
Because they are not a competitor to me. They are a fellow vendor. And you can ask anyone. Again, this is something I have been saying for 10 years. And I do not understand why some of the people that I mentioned to you, which I won't mention their names on the show just so they don't get harassed, but I do not understand why these people are like, oh, well, he only cares about money. He only cares about making sales. No! You are stupid! You're jealous of my success. Tearing other vendors down for being successful is so fucking stupid.
Uh-huh.
I wish everyone in the vendor hall was as talented at sales as me. I sincerely wish that.
The vendor halls would be a lot more interesting.
I sincerely wish that were true, because the next year you would have 10 times as many attendees. Because if every single vendor in the vendor hall had high quality products, good salespeople, reasonable pricing, clearly labeled, the simple stuff. It's not rocket surgery to have prices on your items. No! It's not rocket science to say, well, if you want to sell someone a poster, why don't you talk to them at your table? This is not difficult to do. If a person, this is a freebie, okay? I'm a consultant. You can pay me $350 an hour to tell you this. But the same way that Gary Vaynerchuk, you may have seen him on TikTok. The same way that he does, he just gives away all of his best material.
Yeah.
He also charges people $1 million to go into their business and do consulting, but he tells them the same shit.
Uh-huh.
The information is not different.
No.
So the same way that he does, here's one of my best pieces of advice for any vendor anywhere. If a person walks up to your table, look them in the eye, say hello, shake their hand, and say something like, "What brings you to the convention today? Here's some of my stuff. Check it out. This is $10. This is $20. Can I get you something?" That is not difficult.
That's rocket surgery.
Apparently, that makes me the asshole that I talk to customers. Apparently, that makes me a greedy, selfish asshole.
Okay. That's all really reasonable advice. Now, if I give you that advice, some random individual who has also raised money for charity, roughly $200,000 in my lifetime, over the course of 10 years.
Right.
If I also said, here's my average approach. I approach an individual. I greet them, "Hello, how are you doing today?
Right.
Would you like to donate money for the charity of the week? In this case, the graduating class of 2012,
or the Last Chance Corral.
or the Last Chance Corral.
Last Trans Corral? No, the horses are not trans as far as I know.
The Last Chance Corral. Why? That's okay. How much is it? $1. That's $1 for a duck. Oh, okay. Here's $5. Okay. I appreciate the donation, and I'll be seeing you I appreciate the donation, and have a great day.
Exactly.
It's that simple to walk up to someone and simply say, "Hey, I am donating. I am here. My booth's over there. You can see the other people working the booth. If you need more information, go talk to them."
Right.
Or, alternatively, here's scenario B.
Right.
You're sitting at your booth. You're playing and fidgeting with the ducks.
Right.
Plastic duckies in a pool.
Sure.
People come over and they say, "Hey, what's this? This is different."
Sure.
Well, hello. How are you doing today? How are you doing today? Good. Enjoying this fantastic fair? Could I take a couple minutes of your time and explain to you what's going on? Oh, okay. Yeah, sounds good. So, I am representing the Last Chance Corral. We are raising money to save mare foal horses.
Just say baby horses. Right?
We're saving baby horses.
That would otherwise be killed for meat.
That would otherwise be killed for meat, or simply killed because they are not useful to the given circumstances.
No, that's too complicated, my love. Let me help you.
Nope.
Let me help you, okay?
One moment.
We are raising money to help save baby horses who would otherwise be killed for meat or are too sick to be taken care of by the farmer.
Yes. Like my partner just said.
Now,
here is scenario C. You simply sit there, playing on your damn phone, not engaging with anybody, and now you're bitching and moaning because I'm not making any sales. Well, you're not approaching people.
yeah,
You're not conversing with anybody.
right.
What do you expect them to do? Just show up?
Apparently, about 90% of vendors expect people to just give them money for no work.
Yes.
I don't understand it.
Now, working a vendor is very difficult work.
Yes, it is challenging and it is exhausting.
But you're there to make money. So why not put in 8 hours of effort?
Right. It is work. But in my opinion, it's not really that much more difficult from any other sales job. I would feel more exhausted. Me personally, I would feel more exhausted after working 8 hours in a phone bank in a telemarketing job.
They don't get paid nearly enough.
They do not. But I would feel more tired after working 8 hours as a telemarketer than I would working 8 hours at a convention. The job, in terms of the effort involved, is similar.
Now, this concludes our free consultation for the day.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
At least $350 value. Probably more.
Probably more for very simple, basic, first grade level selling techniques.
Well, and here's the thing. For most people, sales, quote unquote, or salesmanship is a dirty word. I'm sorry, but is a pastor someone that you would say, oh, that's an evil person? Well, I mean, you might say that, but the average person would not.
I wouldn't say a pastor is an evil person.
But a pastor gets up, roughly 2 or so times a year, at least the pastors of the churches that I went to as a child, they would go up a couple of times a year and do a sermon about tithing. So they are selling the church to the congregation.
Yes.
That is sales.
Yes.
When you go into a job interview,
That is sales.
the vast majority of people do not know how to sell themselves. Oh, well, you should give me the job. No, they shouldn't. Unless you convince them of that fact. Here's another just a freebie for you guys. If you walk in to a job interview and you project confidence, knowledge, and intelligence, you have a much higher chance of getting the job. How do you think I got the job at the consulting company?
Confidence, intelligence, and steamrolling everybody.
So here's what happened. Here is how I got a job that paid $350 an hour. Here's how I did it. Just take this and use it. Use it for your own purposes. So I sent in my application. I heard back from one of the hiring managers, and I started talking to him on the phone, and he's like, "Yeah, we get like 200 applications a day. A day. But yours stood out because you have unique experience. You've run your own business for quite a few years, so tell me about that," is basically what he said.
Yep.
Not very many business owners apply for sales jobs. That is an unusual circumstance.
Why?
Because most business owners think they're too good for it. Pride is an emotion that most people use in the completely backward fashion. According to the Bible, pride is very bad. But that is not true. Just the same way as any other tool. Pride is a tool. It's not good to have pride. It's not bad to have pride. It is bad to use your pride to hurt people. It's also bad to be so prideful that you hurt yourself.
Yes.
But
in 2 miles, take the interchange on the right.
by contrast, having pride in your work or having pride in raising your family, having pride in providing for your family, that's a good thing. I am proud that I was able to raise money for Last Chance Corral in 2019. I am proud that Victoria, the founder of Last Chance Corral, told me that I made the biggest single donation in her in her charity's history.
Yeah.
I am proud of that. Now, I am not prideful about that.
No.
I am proud that I was able to do good for her and for her organization. Now, I'm not going to be all haughty and high and mighty about it. I'm going to go, oh, well, I'm so powerful. I donated so much money to charity because I'm so great. That is the wrong kind of pride.
I have my own definition of pride.
Sure.
The vast majority of the stuff I do, charity work for Habitat for Humanity, work for
In half a mile,
different
take the
school
interchange
organizations over the years, I almost never tell anyone what I do.
Right.
Because it's just a thing I do and I enjoy doing it.
Right.
They don't need to know.
See, here's the thing. Here we should
Take the interchange on the right.
we're getting very close to our destination, so we should finish up with this. But the only type of pride that someone I would hope that just about anyone can agree that this type of pride is positive. Okay?
Yes.
The type of pride that I'm referring to is self-respect.
Yes.
And that is something that I see in you. You have self-respect. Because if someone, let's say hypothetically, I would hope that no one would do this, but people do this to me all the time. Oh, you're greedy. You only care about money. You just care about making a sale. And I'm like, that's so wrong. You might as well be an alien telling me why the planet Earth is terrible.
No.
It's so wrong.
Now, myself, when I say a few of my friends, I told them that I got a big promotion, and they're just like, don't let it go to your head. They're like, okay, that's awesome. Don't change because of your new status.
Right.
Okay, I can respect people giving me the advice of, oh, good for you.
Right.
Don't become an asshole about it, please.
Yes.
Which I haven't. If anything, I kind of dropped off the face of the earth the last couple of months. Which, okay, yeah, I was like, no, I can do a lot of good here. Just, let's talk. I can do a lot of good. I'm just letting you know, guys. I want to set up a charity thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put me in contact with who runs that stuff,
Right.
and then we can sort it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, other than that, is like, I'm gonna do the charity with or without your guys, with or without your guys' help. I'll find someone else.
Well, and that is an example of self-respect.
Yeah.
So again, let's game this out. So if someone came to you and said, "You only care about money. You're so selfish. You only care about yourself."
I only make $70,000 a year.
Now, if someone said that to you, you could very justifiably say, "You are wrong because I know that the actions that I am doing are for the common good, for the public good, for the good of animals
Yes.
who cannot advocate for themselves."
Or the good of St. Jude's Hospital.
Right. And so you know that you did that.
Yes.
And so if someone's like, "You're selfish. Why are you so selfish? All you care about is making sales." You'd be like, "You're wrong. You are wrong. And I know that you're wrong. And I have enough self-respect that you can say those things to me and it will not hurt my feelings. Because I am so confident that you are wrong, that if you say those things to me, I don't even have to defend myself."
Now, charity drives that I would love to do, that I would love to work with, Habitat for Humanity. I would love to do them a charity drive.
Let's do it.
Extra Life.
Absolutely.
Let's see, that's St. Jude's. Isn't that a Boston-based hospital?
I don't remember. I think St. Jude's has quite a few different locations, so they probably do have a location in Boston, but they have other locations as well.
Running a charity drive for, let's pick a heavy one real quick.
Okay.
Make-A-Wish.
Sure.
Why not?
Why not? Not only would I like to run a charity drive for Make-A-Wish, I would like to create... we'll end the podcast with this because we're almost to our destination, but I would like to create a place that Make-A-Wish kids want to go to.
Yes.
This is what I would like to create. I would like to create the world's largest children's museum.
Yes.
I would like it to be a partner with the Smithsonian Institution. Call it the Smithsonian Institute of Science for Children or something. I don't know. I haven't come up with a good name for it yet. But put it in downtown DC. Make it a whole city block. Make it a skyscraper. Why not?
You're tailgating me. Stop it. Thank you.
So yes, I want to help Make-A-Wish kids. And not only do I want to get money for Make-A-Wish kids.
Bye-bye. Tailgate someone else, please.
Well, there you go. Not only do I want to make money for Make-A-Wish, I also want to make a location that many, many, many thousands of Make-A-Wish kids are like, "Man, I really want to go there. That looks awesome."
It's got a ball pit.
It's got a ball pit that represents atoms. It's great. So,
Let's
anyway.
get dinosaurs. It's got real dinosaurs.
Oh, why not? Why not?
We figured out, we figured out how to genetically recreate dinosaurs. Herbivores.
Herbivores, of course.
I want to make the Adonis Rex. Are you stupid?
No!
Bad idea. Don't do it.
So you're saying that you want to recreate, saber-toothed tigers instead of mammoths? Why? Why?
It's like, hey, let's recreate Megalodon.
Let's recreate Megalodon and then put it in a children's kiddie pool. Great idea. Well, anyway, thank you so much for listening. This has been the State of the Fandom. We had a very heated episode today. We've had a very stressful week. It felt nice to just let out some steam.
Yes.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone, and we hope that you will subscribe to the podcast on whatever place that you are listening. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, whatever. We hope that you'll leave a comment, a like, and a review. And thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.